Lethal injection, hanging, the guillotine, and the electric chair are just a few ways that capital punishment has been carried out throughout the ages. Most of these ways of execution have long been considered vicious, causing much pain to its victim, which is a violation of the Eighth Amendment. The Eighth Amendment states that excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel or unusual punishments inflicted. It is cruel to execute someone in the process cause them pain. Therefore, it is directly violating the Eighth Amendment. Capital punishment is a violation of the Eighth Amendment because it can cause pain to its victims, and you risk the chance of killing an innocent person. Executions should be made illegal, and a life sentence should be established as capital punishment. The Eighth Amendment, like I have here, states, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel or unusual punishment inflicted. The Eighth Amendment originated from the English Bill of Rights in 1689, and it was then written into the Constitution in the year 1791. In most cases that I have found, in death there is pain. Capital punishment is the lawful infliction of death as a punishment. To me, this seems wrong, and with the death penalty comes pain. There are a few different ways to conduct the death penalty. The most popular one is death by lethal injection. Not all of the methods are pain-free, but some more so than others. We cannot be certain that any of these ways do or do not cause pain because the people usually die from the punishment. I know this seems foolish to think this way, but once they're dead, they cannot tell us what hurt and what did not hurt. So no one really knows if they hurt or not. But some of the methods are more convincing that there is pain present. Take the electric chair, for example. There is an electric shock of 500 to 2,000 volts that are pumped through the condemned for a 30-second period. 30 seconds seem to be a bit excessive considering it is supposed to be painless. That is a long time to have that many volts going through your body. What seems the most humane of the choices is lethal injection, and again is the most popular choice for capital punishment. The prisoner is strapped down to a table like this one, and then is injected with chemicals. At the warden's signal, the execution chamber is exposed to witnesses in an adjourning room, and in states that use the 3-drug protocol, the inmate is injected with anesthetics intended to put the inmate to sleep. Presumably after a member of the team determines the inmate is sufficiently unconscious, he's then injected with paralysis that the entire muscle systems stops and the inmate stops breathing. In most cases, the inmate's consciousness is again checked, and then finally potassium chloride stops his heart. In ideal circumstances, death results from anesthetic overdose and respiratory and cardiac arrest, while the condemned person is unconscious. This seems like the most painless way to conduct the death penalty besides the initial pricking of the needle or if something were to go wrong during the procedure. If there is any pain whatsoever, then it is technically a violation of the Eighth Amendment and should not be allowed to continue under these rules. People that are sentenced to death are usually stripped of their dignity as they lose their life. With hangings, the victim is hung by the neck until dead, or in most cases, 16 minutes, to make sure that the condemned has passed away. If the drop is too short, it will be a slow and painful death. If it is too long, the head will be ripped off. This means that the victim is hanging there for their crimes and put on display for all to see for 16 minutes, which falls under the category of degrading and demeaning behavior, which also violates the Eighth Amendment. Another reason that capital punishment should be outlawed is because innocent people could be killed. Capital punishment is a very finite punishment and is something that cannot be undone. A person that is sentenced to death will never be able to prove their innocence or be freed after being killed. If the innocent person were killed, then the guilty person walks free and possibly could reign terror again. Since 1900, in this country, there have been, on average, more than 4 cases each year in which an entirely innocent person was convicted of murder. Scores of these individuals were sentenced to death. In many cases, a reprieve or commutation arrived just hours or even minutes before the scheduled execution. These erroneous convictions have occurred in virtually every jurisdiction from one end of the nation to the other, nor have they declined in recent years, despite the new death penalty statutes approved by the Supreme Court. I do understand the other side of this argument, the argument of death penalty being the correct punishment and that it is only fair that the criminals are sentenced to death. Usually, the prisoners that have been given the death penalty have committed crimes that involve killing another person. And some people's opinion are that the prisoners did not show mercy on the victim or keep their dignity intact, so death should be given to them without mercy or dignity. Sometimes all people want as punishment is revenge, or eye for an eye, or life for a life. For the most cruel and heinous crimes, the ones for which the death penalty is applied, offenders deserve the worst punishment under our system of law, and that is the death penalty. Any lesser punishment would undermine the value of society that it places on protecting lives. A life sentence could be luxurious for some people that did not have 3 meals a day with clean sheets or cable TV, but for others, time is worse than death. Time to think about all the horrible things that they have done, and time to think about that they will die eventually of old age in the cell that they are kept in. For that reason alone, why do them the pleasure of a quick death so they don't have to suffer from the memories? I think the alternative for capital punishment should be life imprisonment. Life imprisonment is a good alternative because it will restrict the prisoner similar to death because they are solidified from the outside world. They will be locked up and will eventually die in the cell. The only differences are that death penalty can cause pain, and if the condemned were one day to be proven innocent, they would be able to free the innocent and sentence the guilty. It should be made illegal to sentence anyone to death, no matter what the circumstances. The solution that I propose is for the government to abolish capital punishment and to make the government realize that it is cruel and unusual punishment to end the life of a person. The government should make a life sentence for the criminal and cause no physical harm to them. There are many ways to conduct the capital punishment, and most of them violate the Eighth Amendment in a variety of different ways, including causing pain to the victims. You can risk the chance of killing an innocent person, and the death penalty should be illegal, and a life sentence should be established as an alternative.